morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Before we get started, I've been listening to My City Was Gone by Chrissie Hynde since 1982. This is the first time I've actually been in Cuyahoga Falls, so I am very happy to be here. But unlike what Chrissie Hynde said, you know, this government does have pride. They have pride in Ohio. They have pride in all of our state. And on behalf of Governor Mike DeWine, Lieutenant Governor John Houston, I want to extend my greetings for them and to say that I'm very happy to be here, very happy to be here. Now, before we get started, before we start talking about some of what we're doing, I want to share news with you, news that comes fresh off the presses. I just spent the last 5 days, long meeting, 5 days at the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials in St. Louis, Missouri. For those of you who don't know, AASHTO, and my wife is always happy to know that. I'm glad they have a T in that acronym. AASHTO, AASHTO, you get it now, don't you? AASHTO is the body that represents all 50 state DOTs, as well as the 2 territories, so it's 52 secretaries, directors, all of the top officials at the state DOTs have different, titles. And this recent one, we were working very hard on something that's going to impact all of us, and that is the reauthorization of the FAST Act. As Heather and Curtis talked about, particularly Curtis, it is a critical part of what we're doing. Now, Curtis talked about all the tricks and gimmicks that they used to create a balance when they passed FAST Act back in 2015. One thing that is a kind of arcane financial thing that some of you may not know about is called rescission. To simplify it, it's a clawback. Well, basically, the federal government, Federal Highway Administration, had put in the bill that they can reduce the overall appropriation given to the FAST Act and the states if they so choose, and they have chosen to do that. And that's $7.6 billion nationally. So what we are working very hard at the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, of which I'm a member of their policy forum, is getting Congress to rescind, to repeal the rescission language that is currently within FAST Act. We work together, and all 52 state DOTs, including the territories, 50 state DOTs and 2 territories, sent a letter to Congress requesting the repeal of the FAST Act and their most recent continuing resolution. We were not successful. So that language is still in there. What we've been doing at the Ohio Department of Transportation is working day and night to reduce that impact on Ohio. The initial impact of this, it's spread across all 52 state agencies. Our initial impact is going to be about $243 million of our federal in our last year of FAST Act. We have reduced it to 86, so we could potentially get hit in July of 2020 with an $86 million cut. $86 million cut in our federal funds, which will of course impact ODOT, but will also impact our ability to flex our federal dollars with that nice chunk of change that the Ohio General Assembly gave the locals for transit. That $70 million will be less effective because we'll have fewer federal dollars to put toward flexing the dollars used for the very necessary transit systems across the state. So what I am asking you, all of you, before I get started here, is we have both Senator Sherrod Brown and Senator Rob Portman all in on making sure that language is repealed in the next continuing resolution. This current continuing resolution, for those of you who are familiar with the federal government, they never pass a budget on time. They never do their funding bills on time. They just do these continuing resolutions, which are, it's sort of like temporary. It's not even kicking the can down the road. I think it's sort of like rubbing a can around underneath your foot. So they are doing that, and November 21st is the deadline. So talk to your local congressional members, tell them to get behind the repeal of this rescission. It will put it will keep $86 million in the hands of the NPOs such as AMATS and the Ohio Department of Transportation. All of us, we will all benefit from that. So wanted to tell you that. I know that sounds like kind of bad news, where the mayor was talking about the bad news, but I have some good news. Some good news before we get started is that I'm chair of the Transportation Review Advisory Council. I was proud and privileged to serve on that council for over 6 years for Jerry Ray and for former Governor John Kasich. We just recently here with our Transportation Review Advisory Council reviewed projects that had submitted applications this year. We are excited that the track has voted $65 million for the widening and interchange improvements along I-70 from Arlington Road to I-77 and I-270 and US 24 in Summit County. I think that's a pretty nice investment, $65 million. That's our preliminary vote. I can stand before you today and say, I will be voting for it in final. So I just want to let you know that. So that's some good news. All right, let me see if we can advance this. We are in the vanguard in Ohio, and I know that after sitting down with my peers across the other 51 DOTs. We are in the vanguard because we chose to invest in ourselves. And we are in the vanguard because we are one of the most important transportation systems, not only here in the Midwest, in the Great Lakes area, but in the country. We were in St. Louis, and St. Louis is actually envious of us, like, wow, you guys really have the logistics thing going on with intermodal. And they have the mighty Mississippi River right outside of their doorsteps. It shows you how effective we have been in leveraging transportation as an asset, as something that's very valuable for all of us. You know, as we are fond of saying at ODOT, we touch the lives of every man, woman, and child every day. Now that might sound kind of cliche and overblown, but when you really look at the transportation system, it is the vehicle. It's a tangible thing here in the real world that we use to create mobility. And mobility means access to jobs. Mobility means access to opportunity. Mobility actually means freedom. One of my favorite sayings is that the unwritten amendment to the Bill of Rights is the right to get where you're going to. And that is something that we help provide with the Ohio Department of Transportation. Of course, AMATS with their involvement with all transportation is a key part of what they do. ODOT's mission, God bless Jerry Ray. And by the way, he's an Akron boy. He's at the University of Akron, Zip. I just talked to him a week ago. I stay in touch with him. I view him as not only as a mentor, but a career benefactor. Like, he's like a big brother to me, really a great guy. And Jerry had a gift for simplifying, taking complex things and simplifying them. And when I came back to ODOT after being away for almost 10 years, I was on the Transportation Review Advisory Council, but I wasn't a full-time permanent employee of ODOT, so I really wasn't up on all the things that Jerry Ray had done in his second tenure as ODOT director. And one of the things I was really pleased and really amazed that he had done was simplify our mission to provide the easy movement of people and goods from place to place. That says it all, doesn't it? Only one word, I might amend that for Director Ray. I'll put the safe and easy movement of people and goods from place to place, because safety is the #1 priority of Governor DeWine and ODOT. If we're not doing things to make the system safer, we're not really doing our jobs. I charge Jerry DeRochat and the entire team here in District 4, every project that we do has to have some type of positive safety impact. If it doesn't, we aren't doing our job. Again, pretty simple. Take care of what we have. One of the things we said in front of the Ohio General Assembly is that we were in danger. We were in danger of not being able to keep our system in a state of good repair. That's our #1 priority. Bad roads, bad bridges are unsafe roads, unsafe bridges. So we make sure that that's what we take care of first. In fact, with even though I talked about 77 and the looming investment that the Transportation Review Advisory Council will make here in the greater Akron area, most of our money is spent on taking care of what we have. One thing that may have not been spoken about so much as when we were successful in getting our revenue increase is that we were able, after April 3rd, after that thing passed, the first thing I did was talk to our chief engineer, Lloyd McAdam, and of course he reached out to all the district deputy directors such as Jerry Nareau. We had 150 maintenance projects that we had delayed because we didn't have the money to do them. We had 150 maintenance projects we had delayed. We brought them all back on schedule. And so a lot of that pavement repair you've seen around the state are actually those maintenance projects that we were able to put back in the queue and get them out there and increase it and make our, taking care of what we have, make our system work better. That's what this interchange project is about. When I was talking to President Ophoff and the leadership with Larry Householder, they were saying, well, what do you mean by pinch points? I said, well, we're talking about system interchanges, like 77 and Central Interchange here. Our transportation system, I was just thinking about it, it's over 50 years old. The interstate system was mostly put in between 1958 and 1965, so almost every interstate you see in Ohio is older than me, and that's saying something. no, I'm older than that. But no, it's really something that we have to look at, where we have to make our system work better. One of the things we're working on is improving these system interchanges that are in our urban areas, such as Akron. Of course, improving safety. Something that we're very happy, I think Curtis knows this, and again, before I go much farther, I want to have every member of the District 4 team, including District Deputy Director Monroe, stand up. Who's here? These are your people on the ground. These are the people who implement the policies and the legislation that we put together in Columbus and on the hilltop down there in Columbus. So this is your team. They do a great job. I humbly ask you to give them a round of applause because they work hard. So Jerry, you're going to have to live up to that for the next few years. No problem. So we're enhancing capacity. So we are adding lanes. Our system is pretty much built out, but we are adding lanes at strategic points on our system on our interstates. Now, this is something that just blew the minds of the other DOTs, and I was talking to our friends in Texas, Jerry. They're like, we have the second largest inventory of bridges in the country, and we are tiny compared to Texas. Only Texas has more bridges than Ohio, and you have a lot of them right here. It's just the way the geologic history of Ohio turned out to be, with the glacier coming down here and cutting all these trenches and rivulets and valleys in Ohio. We also have the fourth largest interstate system. And when you think about that and the square miles that Ohio has compared to states such as Colorado or Texas or California, we're fourth. And that shows you how much our state is crisscrossed with interstates. And I don't think you can drive 50 miles in Ohio without touching the interstate somewhere. And this is one thing that is also really, I think, important to realize, and you see it every day. We're sixth in the terms of vehicle miles traveled on our roadways every day. And the system never sleeps, it's always in use. These are some of the projects that we're working on, and here we go. All right, this is why everybody's envious of us. This is where we are. When I was at District 6 in the 90s, Greg LaShupka was mayor, and one of the things that LaShupka did, I think, lead on was pressing logistics. Ohio, not just Columbus, but all of Ohio is critical for logistics. You see it with all the freight distribution centers that are popping up. Not only are our legacy freight carriers coming to Ohio, Amazon is coming to Ohio. Amazon is parked right across the river in Cincinnati, and it's going to impact Southwest Ohio. Amazon is also in Columbus, and I'm certain there are developments here. We are within 60% of the population of the eastern half of the United States and Canada is within 1 day's drive of Columbus, and you probably of Ohio. I think many of you have heard this before. Director Proctor was former Director Proctor was very keen on pointing that out. Again, with the Heartland Corridor, and what we're looking at is increased river traffic on the Ohio River. We are looking at intermodal being really a growth engine for Ohio for the next decade and beyond. We did some preliminary studies. We're expecting freight movement in Ohio to go up 43% in the next 10 years. You think there are a lot of big rigs on the highways now. hopefully I'll be, in a rest home. I don't have to worry with that. No, I'll still be out and about. Okay. Our highway system, critically important to everything we do. Again, freedom of movement. Freedom to make sure that you can get to where you want to go, that you have access to opportunity, access to health care. We cannot stress enough how important it is, the work we do. This is an exciting time because this legacy system is worth about $1.7 trillion. And on top of that $1.7 trillion legacy system that we're charged with taking care of as public servants, as stewards of the transportation system, we are now dealing with digital infrastructure. We're looking at this being a key time in the transportation. What all of you are doing is going to change. And that is because we're in a paradigm shift. We're looking at mobility as a service. We're looking at AI. We're looking at autonomous and connected vehicles. We're just talking to the head of AI and connected autonomous vehicles for Ford Motor Company in St. Louis, and they are coming to Ohio. They are going to be here in this northern quarter. They're going to be testing their new autonomous vehicles. They've already committed to having an entire electric fleet by 2024. 2024. Of course, that's going to disrupt our way of life, disrupt some of our industry. Pretty much the front line of that battle is occurring right now with the General Motors strike. The unions know that the way we build automobiles, the way we move about, the size of our fleet is going to change. It's going to change within the next decade, within the next 5 years. So all of this that we're doing, we're taking care of our legacy system, but we're also on watch, and we are in the vanguard, in the elite group of states when it comes to dealing with smart mobility, connected and autonomous vehicles. And we're going to ride that crest for the benefit of Ohio and its citizens. All right, let's talk dollars and cents. This is my background is in the Southern Baptist Church, and one of the things that was said many times when I was growing up, God helps those who help themselves. Ohio helped themselves with this. Now, what we originally asked for, people might be aware that Governor DeWine originally asked for 18 cents additional investment in terms of raising the motor vehicle user fee. We did not get that. Speaker Householder and President Ossoff and the General Assembly wanted a shorter term horizon. That shorter term horizon they felt could be funded with 10.5 cents. But they did something that we didn't ask for. They added 19 cents diesel increase, and really I have my hats off to the Ohio Trucking Association and their team, because they could have pushed back against that very hard, but they didn't. They accepted it as part of their responsibility because they know their industry depends on keeping, particularly the interstates and U.S. routes and state routes, in good repair. So they were supportive, and when you blend that 10.5 cents with the 19 cents, we did the calculation, it comes out to about 14 cents, 14.5 cents for the Ohio Department of Transportation and what we can share with local governments and NPOs such as AVATs. And another thing that went to your benefit, I don't know if this is yeah it is, this went to your benefit. We really made a strong argument for the locals because, and we're not, begrudging the result. We think the result is fair. Because one of the things we told the Ohio General Assembly is that while ODOT was able to take advantage of debt and leveraging the turnpike over the last 10 years, the locals did not. They did not benefit from that. Those projects might have had some ancillary or secondary benefits because some of them touch your systems, but local governments did not benefit from any of that debt financing. So the General Assembly said, well, okay, let's change that formula to 55-45, which actually benefits NPOs, counties, cities, and townships more so than we had even imagined. So, the General Assembly removed the federal flex dollars, but as I stated, we are not going to step away from flexing federal dollars. It's going to be on a project-by-project basis. But we were very surprised and pleased that the General Assembly chose to invest $70 million out of the General Revenue Fund. Those are their dollars. It's not state motor vehicle fuel fees. So this is very exciting. I just talked to our Chief Financial Officer, Sarah Downs, and I asked her, I was like, what's going on with the electric vehicles? And again, we're in the vanguard. We did a show of hands just a couple of days ago in St. Louis. We asked, we said, well, how many of you states are charging for electric vehicles and hybrids? Only 16. And we start, 16 out of 52, we start January 1st. So if you're a Capricorn, if you're born in January, or an Aquarius, you're going to get hit, particularly if you drive a Tesla. You're going to, but that's one of the things that was a big issue was, should they, stratify the hit regarding, how expensive or luxurious your car is. So a Leaf is going to pay just as much as a Tesla, so you might as well just go out and buy a Tesla. Just kidding, buy what you can afford. But I kid you not, this electric vehicle thing is coming. And it's really going to change how we fund transportation, because we have no idea whether $200 per vehicle per year is the right number. I don't think the General Assembly, they guessed. And most states guessed, because we don't know how fast the fleet is going to turn over. The civilian fleet now is mostly combustion. We all know that. Most of us drive combustion engines. Anthony Fox, a former Secretary of Transportation, I was in a meeting with him earlier this year. I said, Secretary Fox, you're into AI and connected automated vehicles and all of that. So how long do you think it's going to take for most of the vehicles on the roadway to be electric or alternative fuels? He said 25 years. I said, I think it's going to be shorter than that, but it's going to take some time. So we're looking at not only that. Another thing we're looking at, and we're working on this for the Ohio General Assembly and for ourselves, because we're going to do it anyway, whether the Ohio General Assembly asks us to do it or not. We were looking to vehicle miles traveled. Met with Oregon and Minneapolis back at the Transportation Policy Forum meeting back in this summer, and we are going out to Oregon, our team, to see what they're doing, because they are one of the few states that is actually funding their program with the VMT. So we're looking at what they're doing, and we'll be reporting back to the General Assembly next year, December 1st, 2020. And that's our deadline for reporting back on VMT. But again, January 1st, these fees start getting charged, and they'll be charged into the, ad infinitum into the future. Bureau of Motor Vehicles is working on it. It's not really ODOT that's going to be collecting this, so we're trying to figure out how it's going to get distributed. So we're blazing a path here in Ohio. We'll figure it out, and we'll let you know how it turns out. Again, I cannot commend or praise Governor DeWine enough for the political courage he exhibited in facing our revenue shortage. We are among only two mostly conservative states that were able to generate a revenue increase in 2019. The other one is Alabama, and we actually got a bigger package than Alabama. Alabama did do something that we weren't able to do, though they were able to index it. So we are looking at indexing as a future request to the Ohio General Assembly. But again, we helped ourselves. We are investing in Ohio. This system is one of the most valuable assets that the state has under its jurisdiction, under its stewardship. So we have to keep it in a state of repair. Really happy with all those numbers. Again, $450 million additionally annually for ODOT, and we are putting that to good use. Again, we were able to fund the Transportation Review Advisory Council. For the first time in 2 years, the Transportation Review Advisory Council actually had money, and we expedited our process. We accelerated the entire cycle so that we could get projects reviewed and funded within 6 months. So we are demonstrating that we respect and appreciate what the Ohio General Assembly and Governor DeWine did, and we are working. We're not letting this investment sit. We are putting it into use. Again, I cannot commend the governor and the leadership. Speaker Householder and Senate President Ophoff, who's from this neck of the woods, I understand. And I think Jerry wasn't a couple of his relatives were pro ODOT, didn't they?
His father did.
See, there you go. So I wonder why he was so nasty to us. No, he wasn't. He was nice. He was nice. You know, he was just questioning. He was questioning. That's his job, just questioning. But they realize that Ohio has to invest in Ohio. And again, we have a great team, and we are in the vanguard. I actually get asked like every month or twice a month to come speak and say, how did you do that? You know, where other states that have conservative legislatures are asking how we accomplished what we did. And again, team effort. So, for the county engineers here, we're looking at, a significant, about 1.5 in addition per county, 1.5 million per county. And that, while it's not a lot for an urban county like Summit, Stark, it is an increase, and we're looking at leveraging that increase. A significant uptick for Amex, so we're happy about that. Again, this was not just for ODOT, this was for the entire state. When we put that package forward, we said, yeah, ODOT wants this and everybody else, good luck. This was for all of Ohio because we realized that no one cares whether it's a county, township, or state road or bridge. They just want it to be in good repair. They want it to be safe. They want it to be available to them. And again, City of Akron, a significant increase. These are things that, we feel blessed and fortunate to have achieved early on our watch. Really an exciting time to be doing what we're doing. Nearby, good people of Canton. So, I wanted to say that we all have a responsibility. We're part of the transportation system ourselves, and we have a responsibility to drive safely. I'm concerned that there is this kind of shirking of our civic responsibility when we enter, this free system that we have, that we're responsible for keeping it safe ourselves in the way that we drive, in the way that we comport ourselves, and making decisions. If you're inebriated, don't get behind the wheel. Put your phone down. That sense of civic responsibility, we have to re-inculcate, not only in our children, but in ourselves, because way too many people are dying on our roadways. Our own workers are getting killed by people who are not taking seriously their responsibility to drive safely. We can only engineer so much safety into the system. We were just talking about that with the governor yesterday with, new improved pavement structures that you'll be able to see better at night and when it's wet out there. But it takes all of us to make the system safe. We have this mission at ODOT towards zero deaths. That's only going to happen if people change how they drive. Change how they drive. I can't stress that enough, and it's incumbent upon all of us. And our men and women at ODOT work hard. So, what we are doing at ODOT is, as I said, we put that money to use immediately. One of Governor DeWine's big deals is safety, as it is ours. We have 150 additional safety projects that we have put in the queue. 99 of them are under study or design, and we did that all within the last few months. You can see that large increase in safety projects that we have, and many of them are happening here. One thing that I'm very proud of is that we didn't say, we're just going to do safety projects on the ODOT system. We don't care where the hotspot is. It can be urban, it can be suburban, it can be rural. We looked at crashes and we rated them in terms of the severity, and wherever they fell, we were going to put money. And we're excited about doing that. Those projects are I'm sure there are several going on right now in your MPO area. So, Jerry and Company, very busy. So, they have their work plans. One of the things we do every year, it was kind of tough to have the General Assembly members question us, well, how do you guys do your work? Do you have a plan? Do you just make this stuff up as you go? No, we work very hard. We have systems in place. We have one of the best transportation asset management systems in the country. The American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials point to Ohio when they say, this is how you take care of a system, take care of it to extend the useful life of all the assets, from traffic signals and safety control devices to pavements and bridges and lighting. So, we are working hard. Major projects around the state. Very important project here, as you pointed out, state route A. And we are saving money. I just spoke with Rich Winning, our Chief Financial Officer. We have already, with that $100 million pledge we made before the General Assembly and Governor DeWine, and mostly, I really don't. It's important that Governor DeWine, to me, knows that we're fulfilling the pledge. I know I'm happy to report to Senate President Ophoff and Speaker Householder, but it's really Governor DeWine I'm really concerned about, whether he thinks I'm doing it or not, our team is doing it or not, and we are saving money. And we are looking at safety, efficiency, savings in safety and efficient operation. $11 million identified already, not by me or our team in central office, but by people like Jerry and his team and all the districts. We have had over 900 suggestions on how we can save money in doing what we do, from maintenance to copying machines at ODOT. So you can count on us to be a good partner. I am someone I actually was a member of the MPO when I was out of ODOT. In the private sector, I sat on the Citizen Advisory Council for the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission. I have worked at the city level, I've worked at the county level, and I've worked at the federal level. You will find no team more willing and ready and willing to work with you than our ODOT team. Very proud of the team we have, very proud of our governor. Like I said, this government does have pride, and we're happy to be your partners. Thank you.